Everyone thinks the Lenovo LOQ with the Ryzen 7 7435HS and RTX 4060 is the budget gaming miracle of 2025. But here's the thing. You can absolutely waste your money on this laptop if you don't know what you're getting into. I pushed this thing for over 2 weeks, gaming, editing, and even lugging it to coffee shops, and what I found is not what the marketing wants you to believe. There are a couple of hidden trade-offs that make it either the best value in its price range or a straight-up bad buy, depending on who you are. And one specific mistake most buyers make with this laptop ruins the whole experience. Before we dive into what I discovered with this LOQ setup, quick heads up. If you're already halfway sold and just want the best current price, I dropped a link in the description. But stick around, because what I found in real-world testing might change which version you actually buy. So here's why I even grabbed the Lenovo LOQ Ryzen 7 7435HS RTX 4060 in the first place. I was done with overpriced so-called gaming laptops that throttle the second you open a game and a browser tab at the same time. My old machine had a 3050, a dim 60Hz screen, and would sound like a jet engine just running Valorant. I wanted something under that mid-range price point that could actually handle modern AAA games, edit 4K footage for the channel, and not feel like a brick when I tossed it in a backpack. I kept seeing this LOQ everywhere. Ryzen 7 7435HS, RTX 4060, 16 gigs of DDR5, 144Hz display. On paper, it looked like a baby Legion at a budget price, but I was skeptical. Lenovo has this habit of cutting corners in all the quiet places: screen quality, SSD speed, cooling on cheaper chassis. So I grabbed it, fully ready to return it if it was just another watered-down gaming laptop with a nice spec sheet and mid-performance. First test: raw gaming performance. I updated all the drivers, set it to performance mode, plugged in the charger, and enabled the MUX DGPU mode in Lenovo Vantage so the RTX 4060 could actually stretch its legs. In Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p, high settings with DLSS on balanced, I was getting around 75-85 FPS, pretty stable. Temps hovered in the low 80s on the CPU, mid to high 70s on the GPU. Not bad at all for this price. Then I jumped into Shadow of the Tomb Raider, 1080p, highest preset, no DLSS over 120 FPS. Esports titles like Valorant and Apex were way above 144 FPS, easily saturating the 144 Hz panel. So performance-wise, this thing is no joke. But then the first big compromise hit: the display. Yes, it's 15.6 inches, 1080p, 144 Hz, and for pure gaming smoothness it feels great. But color-wise, we're talking roughly 45% NTSC on many LOQ configs, around 60% sRGB. Translation: for content creators or anyone who cares about color accuracy, it looks a bit washed out next to something like a Legion or a higher-end ASUS. Indoors, brightness is fine, around mid-300 nits, but outdoors or near a window, you will struggle. This is not a creator's panel. Great for competitive gaming, mediocre for editing. Then I tested productivity and thermals over time. I ran a mix of Chrome tabs, Spotify, and a 4K Premiere Pro project. The Ryzen 7 7435HS, an 8-core, 16-thread chip, actually surprised me. Exporting a 10-minute 4K H.264 video, it held up close to some Intel i7 13th Gen machines I have, without spiking into crazy temps. Fans ramped, sure, but they were more of a whoosh than a high-pitched whine. Under a 30-minute combined CPU plus GPU stress test, the chassis got warm around the WASD area, but not untouchable. The GPU in this LOQ hits around 100-115 W, depending on the exact config, which is exactly where an RTX 4060 laptop GPU should be to compete. But here's where it gets interesting. Battery life. Lenovo claims decent endurance, but in real use with mixed web, light editing, and 60% brightness, I was getting around 4 to 5 hours. If you're gaming on battery, you're looking at maybe an hour to an hour and a half before it taps out, and performance drops hard without being plugged in. This is not a portable gaming rig in the sense of unplug and play all day. It's a move between outlets machine. If you expected an all-day student laptop that also games, this is not that. Storage and upgradability are kind of the hidden win here. My unit came with 16 GB of DDR5 in dual channel and a 512 GB NVMe SSD. You get room for another SSD slot inside on many models, and RAM is upgradable, not soldered. So if you grab a cheaper config, you can turn this into a legit long-term machine with a couple of affordable upgrades. But then again, the plastic chassis flexes a bit around the keyboard and lid. Not terrible, but you can feel it is a budget line under the Legion series. After about 2 weeks of bouncing between gaming, editing, and basic office work, here's the thing I did not expect. The Lenovo LOQ Ryzen 7435HS RTX 4060 does not feel like a compromised performer. It feels like a focused performer. Lenovo clearly decided, we're putting the money into CPU, GPU, cooling, and keyboard, and we're cutting on screen color accuracy, premium materials, and battery. If you go in expecting a cheap Legion, you'll be disappointed. If you go in expecting a raw performance machine for 1080p gaming and side hustle editing, you'll probably be impressed. Compared to similarly priced RTX 4050 laptops, the LOQ with a 4060 is just in another league for FPS. Compared to pricier Legion or ASUS ROG models, you give up a better screen, better speakers, and a more premium build. But you save a few $100 and still get 80-120 FPS in modern titles at 1080p. And that too good to be true feeling. It's real only if you think you're getting everything for a budget price. You're not. You're getting targeted performance with obvious but acceptable sacrifices. Now that you know what the LOQ is actually good at, and where it clearly cuts corners, the next step is simple. If this matches your priorities, grab it before prices spike or stock shifts to weaker configs. I've left a link in the description where you can check current pricing and available specs in your region. Bottom line, who should buy the Lenovo LOQ Ryzen 7 7435HS RTX 4060? If you're a gamer who lives at 1080p, cares more about high FPS than perfect colors, plans to stay plugged in most of the time, and maybe does some light to moderate content creation, this is one of the best value machines you can get right now. If you want an all-day battery laptop, a color-accurate display for serious creative work, or a premium metal build, skip this and look at a Legion or higher-end alternative. So don't waste your money buying this for the wrong reasons. Buy it because you want maximum performance per dollar and you understand the trade-offs. That's the real story of the Lenovo LOQ in 2025.